What's up, YouTube? So this weekend was the AFC Championship game played by the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. So New England pulled off the win in overtime. So that means that Tom Brady is going to be going to the Super Bowl again, which further leads people to believe that he is the GOAT. He has 5 Super Bowl wins. Anybody behind him would be one of the greatest of Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw with 4 wins. This weekend, Tom Brady's stats were he went 30 for 46 for 348 yards. So he threw 2 picks, but he still won the game. Across the field was Patrick Mahomes. He went 16 for 31 with 3 touchdowns with an L. So First Take is going to talk about the game this weekend, and Max is going to give a take on what he thinks about Tom Brady. And as we already know, Tom Brady is 40 years old. I think he's a little bit older than 40 years old. He's 40 plus. Max seems to think any quarterback that's over 40 seems to fall off. But Tom Brady is going to his 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. So let's hear what Max has to say about Tom Brady in the game last week and about him going to the Super Bowl again.
Did he prove he's the best quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah. I mean, listen. I'm an Aaron Rodgers guy in terms of talent, and I think that Aaron Rodgers, if he was on New England, would be doing what we see Tom Brady do as a football player. But that doesn't take anything away from what we've seen Tom Brady do. And then when you take into account what you hear Robert Kraft say about him, when you hear Bill Belichick say about him, what you hear his teammates say about him, and the fact that we don't hear those kind of things about Aaron Rodgers. That's why you have to compartmentalize by talking about talent compared to overall production. Tom Brady, I never thought that I would reach a point in my lifetime where I would talk about Tom Brady on an elevated level above Joe Montana, but I'm there. This dude is something special, and his leadership, his willingness to embrace challenges and to overcome them time and time again. He's on the field, he's hugging Chris Hogan, and he's like, I'm too old, you're too slow. You know, we don't have any skilled players, and look what we've done. I can't repeat the rest of what he supposedly said. You've got that going on, and then you think about, you know, going up against Patrick Mahomes and how he goes after a game and he asks security quietly, can I get Patrick Mahomes? Can I talk to him for a second? And they were escorted into a private room.
See, so what Tom Brady did is he showed old school class. Old school class. What he did is after the game, he went over and talked to Patrick Mahomes and kind of mentored him, if you will. He let him know that he's a great player and don't be down on yourself because you didn't get to the big show. Actually, he did kind of get to the big show. He went to the AFC Championship game, which is very good for a guy of Mahomes' age. So he let him know to keep your head up, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. You know, he sort of shared the wealth of knowledge to Patrick Mahomes, which is old school class.
He recognizes young greatness when he sees it and wants to encourage the kid along. There are special qualities that Tom Brady has that speaks to his level of greatness as a player and as a leader. And all of those things come together in moments like yesterday. Because I think if you're just great without leadership, or if you're a leader without the greatness, you lose that game yesterday. He won because he has both. And that's what I think makes it special. And it's actually a teachable moment for a lot of guys out there who aspire to be great at whatever they do. It's real inspirational.
Is Tom Brady still the best quarterback in the NFL? No, of course not. He wasn't even the best quarterback.
Look, Max, he didn't have to be the best quarterback on the field this weekend. The point of it is he's won the game. It doesn't matter if he was the best quarterback or not. He won the game. He's going to another Super Bowl again. It doesn't matter who won the regular season MVP. Because if you don't make it to the playoffs and if you don't win, you don't go to the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter if you're the best. It doesn't matter if you're the MVP. It doesn't matter what happens. As long as you win, you find a way to win. You could be the worst quarterback throughout the whole year in the playoffs, but if you win and you get to the big show, that's all that counts. That's all that matters, Max.
Quarterback in his game yesterday, and it was pretty obvious. Look, Tom Brady had 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. The third one lost them the game. But of course, there was a neutral zone infraction which had zero impact on the play other than it negated a bad throw to Gronk, which resulted in an interception, which ended the game. 54 seconds, Kansas City with the ball up 4 points. He got lucky there. He also got lucky 2nd and 7 on a roughing the passer play, which was not a roughing the passer play, first down, 15 yards. He also got lucky on a whole.
You see, sometimes luck goes your way. You know, it's not his fault that he got lucky. Now, I will say this. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick put themselves in a position to have the best opportunity to have luck come their way. Also, it's not Tom Brady's fault that he got lucky. Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. He didn't get lucky the times that he was beating the Super Bowl, especially when he got beat twice against Eli Manning and the New York Giants. I can name a huge catch that the New York Giants got to beat Tom Brady a few years ago in the Super Bowl. So sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't, Max.
Catch, which I realize is more controversial, but the ball moved and it touched the ground. I'm sorry, in my lifetime, that's never been a catch when the ball moves and it touches the ground, or at least certainly not in recent years. You know, ask Des Bryant or any other number of receivers. So we got extremely lucky, and then, talk about luck, 50-50, you flip a coin. They literally got lucky. They won the coin toss. So Mahomes never touched the ball. So you can sit here and say, yeah, but whose team won? Right, as a result of luck at the end of the game. Now, is luck the residue of design? Yes. And Bill Belichick is the greatest of all time. And Tom Brady is also the greatest of all time, just not the best in the league anymore. And when you look at it, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Patrick Mahomes, who put up 31 points, his team did in the second half, versus Tom Brady, who Bill Belichick built a 14-point lead with by handing the ball to the running backs, and then getting very lucky down the stretch. 2, I will give credit where credit's due, to get the opportunity to do excellent things in overtime, an opportunity that Mahomes never got. If you're comparing the 2 quarterbacks, Mahomes outplayed him yesterday in the game. So, he's not the best quarterback in that game, let alone in the league.
I find it funny how you said Bill Belichick built that lead. Mm-hmm. Last time I checked, Bill Belichick wasn't on the field. He's as great of a coach as Coach Belichick is.
Does Tom Brady play defense?
Tom Brady won that? What's the most important position on a team or in sports? Period.
Well, you can argue the head coach.
It's a come on, Mac. Come on. Let's be real. Listen. Here's what I'm going to say. Are there guys more talented than Tom Brady? Absolutely. Okay. Guys have more gaudy stats than Tom Brady? Absolutely. But when we look back on sports, we always look at moments, how people play in the clutch. Is there a more clutch player in the National Football League than Tom Brady right now? No, there's not a more clutch player.
What he means by clutch means that slitting the throat. When the pressure stacked up against you, you perform. Kobe had the killer mentality. MJ had the killer mentality. Joe Montana had the killer mentality. These are the guys, when the chips are stacked against them, they go ahead and they come through. They come through. So you can be the best quarterback. You can be, the most technically sound. You can be the best quarterback. The best athlete. But if you can't come through when it counts, when you can't slit the throat, when the pressure gets to you, you got to have that killer mentality. Everybody I named, MJ, Kobe, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, they all have killer instinct. Unlike LeBron. But that's a different video.
In the National Football League. Tom Brady is the most feared player in the National Football League. It played itself out yesterday. You already said it. In the coin flip, when the Patriots won the coin toss, you knew it was game. Because Tom Brady, in those particular situations, he's money. He's money. And that's all you can ask for out of anybody, especially your quarterback. You want your quarterback to be money when in those tight situations where everything is on the line. No player in the National Football League comes up bigger than Tom Brady. So in that perspective, yes.
I walked away from this game thinking about 3 people. I'm thinking about Bill Belichick and the phenomenal job he did in the first half against that Kansas City Chiefs offense. I walked away thinking about Tom Brady and how he finished, particularly on 3 consecutive 3rd and 10s in overtime. And I walked away thinking about Tony Romo, who called maybe the greatest game I've ever heard. I've never seen anybody in a booth call a game as great as I saw Tony Romo. And we got a lot of great announcers in this game.
So for the people that don't know, there was a guy up in the box that was calling the game, and his name was Tony Romo. He's an ex-Cowgirl quarterback who was the complete opposite of Tom Brady. Whenever the chips were stacked, whenever the pressure was on, whenever it was time to perform, he always fell apart. And that's why he's up in the booth ringless.
And color commentators and all.
He basically knew it was going to happen. It was like a prognosticator.
It was I'm serious. I'm not laughing. I have never heard someone call a game like Tony Romo did yesterday. He was this is what you look at this. This is what they're going to do right here, right now. It was unbelievable.
Well, here's what I say. I think Tony Romo is just unbelievable. Tony Romo is also a quarterback.
Yes.
Tony Romo has a unique perspective.
Yes, he does.
In how the game is to be played, and because of the position that he played, he understands what teams like to do.
I will say this to you. I've seen many quarterbacks on television. I've watched them on television. I'm talking about over the last 25 years. I have never heard anyone call a game like Tony Romo.
It's not just the predictive nature of what he was saying. I've seen other analysts in other sports predict like that, and he was great last night, but I've seen that before. He has a future as a head coach.
But
it's also it's not just telling you what's going to happen. He's charming on the air. Like as a broadcaster, that was as good as it gets. And the crazy thing is he's a rookie.